What is happening, everybody? This is Cody, aka DFS Prodigy, coming to you live, breaking down week 3 of the NFL season. Before we get hit like button for me, definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go follow Tyler Posey. We are here breaking down this slate. I'm excited about this slate. How did you do last night, my man, with the Browns late TD?
To be honest with you, my Yahoo lineups didn't go to perfection. I didn't have enough of Amari Cooper over there. But to make matters worse, I crunched out lineups for DraftKings, and I didn't play them. Last second decision to not play, and I went back and looked through it, and I hit the optimal. So it's a great feeling to not do very well on Yahoo, and would have taken down everything on DraftKings. But it is what it is.
Right. I mean, like I said, I didn't have enough Cooper also. I wish he was still in the Cowboys. Um, we need him right now, personally, as y'all can tell, with Michael Gallup still hurt, with Noah Brown somehow doing well. But CeeDee Lamb, I don't know what's happening with CeeDee Lamb. I don't really want to get started on that. But we're here for week 3. It's a good slate for 13 games. It's better than the Monday night showdown that we're going to have with Giants and Cowboys. But it's a decent week 3. We're going to kind of break it down game by game. So with Baltimore and New England, what do you think of the quarterback room with Lamar Jackson and Mac Jones? Are you on either one, or what are you looking at for this
I'm
team?
not gonna. I'm not playing Mac at all. I just don't play it. I actually, I run 150 lineups or more every week. So, I try to pick 6 or so quarterbacks to back up, sometimes less, but I will Lamar some. He had come off a gigantic week last week, just at 8,000, huge rushing ability, and it's easy, makes it easy for stack targets with Bateman and Andrews. Just the problem is the run back for New England. Like Aguilar went off last week. I just don't see that's just not a constant thing. But Jacoby Myers doesn't have a huge ceiling. So it's hard for me to run back with New England. But I'll play a little more just because I think he's that good. I think he's got some good targets in Andrews and Bateman that I don't mind stacking up.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Bateman's still under 6K. The price tag's slowly going up. It went from 53 to 55 down to 57. Slowly, like I said, going up $200 each week. It's well worth it. We knew this was going to happen with Bateman. We were just waiting for the breakout year for him. I like Bateman a ton. I don't mind going to Lamar Jackson. We know the contract issue. He's playing lights out. He wants that money. We saw him already basically just say, nope, I want more money with his contract, but 8,000, it's well worth it in my opinion. I'm still waiting on J.K. Dobbins to come back. I still believe in him. Somehow I still do. I'm waiting for him to come back though. He's still not back. I'm not really on the Mike Davis or the whole Kenyon Drake spell. I'm not really on the running backs. Like I said, I do like Bateman, especially with Duvernay questionable. We saw him return the 103 kickoff return touchdown, but of course it doesn't count towards him. So that counted for the defense. But pretty much Mark Andrews, like you said, 6'9". I don't mind that. I don't mind going to Bateman. I don't mind going to Lamar Jackson. I'm not really a fan of this New England team whatsoever. You can try to sell me on Jacoby Myers like 5,000. Nelson Aguilar, he's going to have boom games, but it is what it is. Do you trust Nelson Aguilar whatsoever, man, or no?
No, I don't buy in the hype. He's going to have those games where he has 8, 9 catches, 100 yards, maybe a touchdown, but those games are few and far between. And I just don't. To me, it's the Mac Jones. I don't trust him to be able to find those plays consistently. So not touching pretty much anything with Mac Jones. Like he's going to lock into Jacoby Myers for 8 to 10 targets, but the upside to me is just not there week in and week out, and I don't see it being this week. Although Baltimore has been horrible in the secondary, so if there's a week that New England should be able to do it, it better be this week. But I still don't trust it.
Exactly. Going to another interesting game with Chiefs at Indiana. Patrick Mahomes, 7'9". If you want to go to him as a pivot from Lamar Jackson, I understand it. Again, he was a down. It was a down week for him for 17 fantasy points for Patrick Mahomes. So if this is a bounce back spot for him, this is a good spot for him to bounce back in. I don't trust Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 6'3". Again, the production, it's there, but again, it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I don't really trust it at 6'3". I'd much rather go elsewhere. Receivers wise, it's kind of all over the place with Kansas City, with Juju. Again, the targets is just up and down. I don't really trust Juju right now. I'm not on Sky Moore whatsoever. Everybody loves Sky Moore, but I don't see it. He can have all the snaps in the world, and it's just not happening. Travis Kelce, though, 7'9", I get it. I don't mind Travis Kelce. What do you think of this Kansas City team?
Yeah, I'll play some shares because it's Mahomes and it's a high game total at 50.5. And it's not a huge spread, 5.5. I mean, it's on the road, so that makes a little bit of sense why it's a little down. But at 7,900, there's, you can go up to Lamar and get him at 8. But Mahomes is still Mahomes. He's really, really good. Kelce is really good. Right now he's projected around 6% ownership for Kelce, and that's just way too low. He's just got an incredible ceiling with a guy like Mahomes throwing in football. And the Colts, they're allowing the 6th most DraftKings points to games to tight ends. They're not been very good up the middle. Kelce, he lines up everywhere, so he's going to have different matchups than your traditional tight ends. But he's just too good. So I'll have some Mahomes, Kelce stacks, and possibly some other stacks from maybe with some little bit of Juju. But I don't love Juju. He's just there. And if I'm trying to run a big stack with Mahomes, then he's one of my options. But definitely not a big fan of two stacking with Mahomes, especially with his receivers this year. I loved it with Kelce and Hill, but we just don't have that anymore.
Right. Is DraftKings got to tell us something with Nick Foles at 4'9" and Matt Ryan at 5'2"? Are they trying to tell us something right now?
I sure hope not. I don't want to see any more Nick Foles than I ever have to. All Matt Ryan has looked incredibly poor.
It's crazy to me how the attempts, 50 attempts, 30 attempts. That's the thing. Like, what exactly is happening with?
Yeah, they give Jonathan Taylor 10 attempts last game or less? He had 10 touches, I believe.
Jonathan Taylor had 9 attempts.
9 attempts, 1 catch, 10 touches total. So you tell me in a game where you don't have your best receiver, you're giving Jonathan Taylor 9 rushing attempts. You're just trying to lose. He's one of the best running back in the game, and you're giving him that few of carries. So I expect him to get a heavy dosage again this week. There's no way they can afford to try to pass with Kansas City and not try to eat some clock with your best player.
Right. If Pittman's in, I don't mind going to Pittman at 6'9". If he's out, I'm going to go back to the well and Doolin at 3'9". I know it's scary. I know it's not a popular name, but again, the targets are there for Doolin. It's much more. Well, hey, he has way more targets than Paris Campbell did, and everybody wanted the Campbell game, but Campbell 2 targets, not really someone I'm looking at. Alec Pierce is out of concussion protocol. I just saw that, but that doesn't really affect me how I like Doolin. I'm not really playing the tight ends on this Colts team. I'm not playing the defense on this Colts team whatsoever against Kansas City. There's no way. But going to a kind of an uglier game in New Orleans and Carolina, what do you think of this game, my man?
There's some pieces that I like of it. I'm kind of big on Chris Olave again this week. He 13 targets last week. You could see Winston really looks to the dude, and they weren't able to connect on a lot of those targets. But the fact that he's that involved in the offense just gives me a lot of hope that they're going to connect on it, in the near future. And obviously, Jameis is being banged up with his injuries, but that connection is going to hit. You can see he just barely overthrew him on a few attempts. But Chris Olave leads the NFL in air yards, so he's getting the deep balls. He's getting some targets. He's getting some underneath work. It looks like he's just getting a lot of target share. He has a 21% target share in that offense. I like the volume that he's getting, and you connect on one big ball and at $4,500, and that's nothing for an opportunity to make that big play and to get the type of volume he's got.
Exactly. Like I said, like we were talking about before, Jameis was looking at him. It's just he was overthrowing him multiple times or underthrowing him either way. But I like him at 4.5. I don't mind going to him at 4.5. I don't mind going to Michael Thomas at only 5'9" either.
Yeah, it's really cheap for him.
You're telling me that Michael Thomas is still under 6K? I like it. The targets are there. The touchdown potential is there. And a dart throw at tight end, Juwan Johnson, the snap count's there. The targets are there. I don't mind going to him at only 2.9. What do you think of him?
I just never been a fan of him. And I'm not a fan of this offense as a huge passing attack. So basically you're just wanting to play one of these guys. But at 2.9 with the targets he's getting, it's not a bad look. I just don't think Thomas, Olave, and him can all go off in the same game type things. If you're playing some of these guys, you really just want to play one of them because they don't throw it enough, I don't think, with a huge upside to support all three of them.
And then, like we talked about, Alvin Kamara, 7,000. Has he been under 7,000 before? Is my question also.
I mean, probably his rookie year when he was drafted super late out of Tennessee, and nobody really took many shots at him. But man, it's been a long time since that dude has been that cheap. If he's playing and he's a full go, then I'm just gonna fire him up. It's just too cheap.
I was about to say that. Yeah, if he's not limited in any fashion, I'm gonna play him at 7,000.
Oh yeah.
But looking at Carolina, what do you think of this Carolina team?
I just don't like Baker Mayfield at all as a quarterback. I think he's not very good, and I'm not going to touch any of their pass catchers at all. I love DJ Moore, one of my favorite receivers in football, but I'm not touching him with Baker Mayfield. He's just, to me, he's just not a good NFL quarterback. I don't trust him to get the ball to anybody. McCaffrey's at 8,800. He's kind of like mid-nines pretty much his whole career, so he's still a little bit of a discount for McCaffrey. And he's still, to me, the best fantasy player on the planet. No matter who has been his quarterback, he's always just produced. So I don't mind going to McCaffrey a little bit. It's 8,800. It's a little bit of a scary spot against New Orleans. You don't normally recommend running backs against them because they're so good, but he can beat you in so many ways. And I think if Carolina wants to have a chance, let Baker Mayfield throw it all over the place unless they're nice, easy dump downs to McCaffrey. So they're going to need him to produce. So I think McCaffrey is probably my only Carolina guy.
Right. I'm not looking at DJ Moore at 5'6". It's not really a price tag that's appealing to me. Christian McCaffrey, he's always going to be on the injury report, but I don't mind that at 8'8" as a pivot from off of other high-priced options. Tight end wise, I'm not touching it. Do you want to touch the defense of Carolina or no?
No, I'm not going to touch them at all. If I touch a defense, I'll grab New Orleans because Baker Mayfield is liable to throw 4 picks.
Then going to Houston and Chicago. On the Chicago side, there's one option I really want to look at, which is David Montgomery at 5'9". What do you think of David Montgomery, my man?
Yeah, he's the only guy I'll play on this, pretty much on this entire game. I'm not looking for really anybody else. Houston has been pretty bad against opposing running backs. They've given fifth most DraftKings points per game, the most yards in the first 2 weeks to any opposing running back. Outside of game one, he didn't look all that great. Low yards per carry average in that that rain fest there, but this looks to be a lot better of a situation, and Houston's not very good. Chicago's at home as 2.5-point favorites, low game total. He's going to get a lot of run, and he's already averaging 16 attempts per game and 2.5 receptions. Montgomery is probably going to be chalky, but it's an easy cash game play for me.
Right. That's who I'm mainly looking at. The Justin Fields just isn't passing whatsoever. That's the problem with this offense is Cole Kmet 3-4, 0 targets. Receivers wise, I don't trust Darrell Mooney at 5'3". I don't trust his team whatsoever. So looking at Buffalo, Miami, this is the game I want to target. I like this game a ton. What do you think of this game?
At first glance, you look at Miami and you see that Buffalo defense opposing them. And Buffalo's defense has been very good against literally every position. It's just been tough to score on. It's made it difficult for opposing offenses to do anything. But Miami's just going to throw it and throw it and throw it. I just don't feel like they're going to run it with Mostert or Evans. They don't know who to trust. I don't know who to trust in their backfield, but they're going to just sling it. And Buffalo has some injuries there in that secondary. I just don't think they can cover Hill or Waddle all game. I'm not sure that I'll stack Tua with those guys, but I want to have one off of Waddle and Hill just because they've just been great all season long so far with this passing attack. But if you wanted to stack Tua, I'm not gonna say not to do it because his passing attempts are going to be through the roof.
Well, and the Buffalo defense is facing a lot of injuries now. Yeah. We saw Micah Hyde, Jackson. A lot of the defense is going to be out. That's the problem is that defense is not scary anymore. So I don't mind going to the discount of Jalen Waddle at 6'8" compared to Tyreek Hill. I don't mind going to Tua at only 6'1". I want a lot of pieces of this game. On the Buffalo side, give me Diggs still. With the banged up Xavier Howard at 7-7, him and Diggs look good with Josh Allen, especially if K. Davis is out. He should be in, though, but I don't mind him at 6-3 either. What do you think of this Buffalo team?
I mean, they're going to pass every game. It doesn't even matter. You look at last game, it's like a 30-point blowout, and Josh Allen still threw 30-plus attempts. You get into any type of tight games here with Buffalo, they're just not going to run the ball. They're just not going to do it. So you're getting 30-plus attempts out of Josh Allen every single game. You're going to get multiple rush attempts every single game. Diggs and him look to be on a better connection this year. They missed on a lot of those plays that last year, which caused his fantasy production to go down a little bit in Diggs. But he's just too good. And we're getting Diggs against the banged up secondary, even with Howard there in Miami. Gabe Davis a little bit banged up. It's just they're going to pass it too much time for me to ignore this team.
Right. And then, like I said, I want pieces of this game. I want pieces of the Detroit-Minnesota game. What do you think of this game right here?
Yeah, it's another one. A 52.5-point game total. Pretty Minnesota's -6 favored. So Goff at 5,800 is pretty. It stands out to me as a pretty good safe option that can boom, especially in this scenario where there's a high game total and he's not. I mean, he's a 6-point underdog. There's going to be a really nice game script for him, and he's had 34 more attempts every single game. He's got Amon-Ra St. Brown, who has just been absolutely fabulous for the last 8 weeks. He's got Hawkinson, which is not produced so far, but he's at $4,200. He's still getting 7 targets a game. And we're talking about a Minnesota defense who's given up the ninth most fantasy points per game to opposing tight ends, 4th most yards. That's a great price tag for a guy who's been involved with the offense. It just hasn't had the results to back it up. So Goff's a stacking piece for me at 5,800. It's an easy place for me to go, especially in a game total like this.
Exactly. On Jared Goff, I want him and Amon-Ra St. Brown. St. Brown's been a monster this season. I'll pay for 7-2 for him any day of the week. I don't mind going to Hawkinson if he's not limited at 4-2. That's a cheap price tag. DeAndre Swift, 7-2. I'll take that all day out of DeAndre Swift. When he was banged up last game and still got a touchdown. So he still looked good. I don't mind that. I don't mind going to Minnesota on the flip side with Justin Jefferson. Again, this is not prime time, so don't worry. Justin Jefferson's going to be all right with Kirk Cousins. So
yeah, you get Kirk Cousins in prime time, you might as well just fade everything.
Exactly.
Kirk Cousins prime time is bad.
Exactly. Adam Thielen, 5'9". That's a cheap price tag for Adam Thielen when we know he can boom. So I don't mind paying that. I don't mind paying for Irv Smith at 3-1. That's a great cash game monster, like you were saying. 3-1's way too cheap for Irv Smith.
Yeah, way too cheap. Saw 8 targets last game. I mean, he's involved in the offense just as much as anybody. We get a better game this game out of Kirk because it's not in prime time. We're cooking.
Exactly. And then Cincinnati and New York. Cincinnati, what is happening with Cincinnati right now?
It's coming back to earth, man. They get to the Super Bowl last year, made an incredible run, got hot, just kind of coming back to earth. It's not like they're getting blown out. It's like a field goal games in both of them. They just don't look very good. So it's weird to see them struggle that bad out the gate and get beat by Mitchell Trubisky and Cooper Rush in back-to-back. It's shocking to see that, to be honest with you. But I'm still probably going to go after Mixon here. He's $7,600. He's gotten 34 and 22 touches in the first 2 games. Very, very active in their offense. So I'll take the volume there. He's kind of a pivot to around some of these other running backs there in that range. And New York's, not a very good defense, giving up 10th most DraftKings points to opposing running backs. So Mixing at 7,600 with the volume, I'll go there for sure.
Right. I don't mind going to the Jets with Tyler Conklin at tight end. I don't mind that at 3-8. If Azuma's out, if Azuma's in, I'm not going to really touch that. I'm not touching running backs. Joe Flacco 5-3. I know you don't like it, but he's seeing pass attempts, so that's the main thing.
Yeah, he's throwing it. I mean,
What is happening, everybody? This is Cody, aka DFS Prodigy, with Tyler Posey. We had technical difficulties with the first video, but it is what it is. It should be fixed. We are at Las Vegas and Tennessee. What do you think of this game, my man? Yeah.
Titans are not very good. They have just been terrible these first two games. Anytime you see Malik Willis on the field, you know it's bad right now because the Titans don't want to throw him out there right now. He's clearly not ready, but that would be for another video. But yeah, for the game, like I'm just looking at maybe a little bit of Josh Jacobs because Tennessee's been horrifying against the run. He's got 29 carries already this season in 2 games. Nobody's playing many snaps. Like Zamir White's not playing. Abdullah's just not getting in there very much. I think he played 20 of 22 touches last week. So he is their guy. Like it's throwing him out there. So with the Titans being so poor against the run right now, they've given up the most DraftKings points to running backs in the entire league already. At 5,400, it's a good price.
Exactly, especially with Taylor Lewan now out on the offensive line for this week. It's hard to trust Derrick Henry right now with what's happening with him at 8-1. Yes, that's a good price tag. Yes, it's Derrick Henry, King Henry, but offensive line's banged up. Tannehill doesn't look like he's in form right now. This might be one of his last years on the field. I don't trust this Tennessee team. I don't trust the Tennessee receivers whatsoever. Burks, I think he's going to be good down. Give him like 2 or 3 years. He's going to be good. But right now, it's just hard to trust with Ryan Tannehill. I agree with you on Josh Jacobs. I do like that. I don't mind going to Davante Adams. It's hard not to love Davante Adams right now still. That's kind of where I'm looking at for this game. The Nets game, though, was much better. I want all of Philly and Washington. Talk to me about this game, man.
Yeah, it's a lot to like in this game. It's weird that it's just a 47-point game total, but that could be because Hurts is possible to run all over everybody, along with his buddy Miles Sanders. So I like both of those guys in this game. I feel like I'm going to go everywhere in cash with Hurts. I just don't see myself getting away with a $7,600 for Jalen Hurts. It's unbelievably low. Like he's thrown 1 or no touchdown passes, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he has 1 last game.
1 touchdown pass, and he's still scoring at an insanely high rate because he runs the ball so effectively. It's just his floor is unbelievably high. His floor is as big as most people's ceilings, and only at 7,600. I'm going to go there all day. He's got a guy in Brown, AJ Brown, with a 35.5% target share, has only $7,300, 21 targets. And we're talking about Washington, who can't guard anybody. They're giving up the 4th most points to wide receivers, 6th most receptions, the 8th most yards. It's just too much to like in this game for the Philly side as well as a lot of the Washington side. Curtis Samuel at $5,100. I mean, Wentz loves the dude. He's coming in and just peppering with 20 targets right off the bat. So at $5,100 for a game like this, and where Washington's underdogs by a full touchdown, they're going to have to throw to keep up.
Exactly. Don't forget about my guy, DeVonta Smith at 5'2". Huge bounce back game. I mean, 80 yards, 7 for 7, caught all his targets. I like it. I like DeVonta Smith still at 5'2". He's a great pivot from A.J. Brown because everybody wants to play A.J. Brown with Jalen Hurts. But they put up the same numbers last week. So, and you're giving me 5,200 compared to 7,300. I don't mind that for DeVonta Smith. I don't mind going to Curtis Samuel. I know it's scary, but it's Carson Wentz. 6'3" for Carson Wentz. 46 attempts, 30 completions, 31 fantasy points, 32 fantasy points past 2 weeks. I know he's going to be facing Darius Slay with Terry McLaurin. That's going to be the problem at 6'4", is I'm much rather just go to Curtis Samuel. Tight end wise, Dallas Goedert, 4.7 still. I still like him under 5K. He's still getting the targets. I don't mind it. I don't mind going to Miles Sanders either. I know it's a running back committee. I understand that, but it's Miles Sanders still. He finally scored his long-awaited touchdown in week 1 that he needed. He's still getting the attempts. He's still seeing the backfield touches with 3 targets on the receiving end. I don't mind that for Miles Sanders. That's kind of where I'm looking at. I think, like I said, this is a full cash game. Going to the Chargers and Jacksonville with Justin Herbert. It's the same doctor. We saw what Tyrod Taylor, what happened with him with the ribs. Is that going to happen with Justin Herbert? Is he all of a sudden just going to get hurt? What's happening with him?
I can almost promise you they're having a little bit better care of Justin Herbert, their franchise guy, than they might have with Tyrod Taylor, especially having that situation already happen to him. But as far as the game, it's 47-point game total. The Chargers are favored by 7 with just a heavily banged up Herbert, and with Allen not playing last week. I kind of just don't trust the situation in terms of the injuries that they have. It's not that I don't love Herbert, because I do. I got him in a lot of my just regular season-long fantasy leagues. But in terms of this week, I just honestly would rather play some other guys just to kind of see how the injury is. Now, he could go out there and light it up, and I wouldn't even be surprised. There's no question. He's that good. But I'm just not gonna risk it. I don't feel it's worth the risk, especially with some of the other quarterbacks being in that range, just being in better spots, not injured. So I'll go elsewhere, but I won't be surprised if he lights it up.
Right, that's going to be the big question mark, is if Herbert is playing, because I don't want this offense Chase Daniels in. On the tactical side, I know you like Christian Kirk, so sell me on Christian Kirk.
Yeah, he's $6,200. I think that's the 16th highest price wide receiver. So he's down the line. He's already got 18 targets on the season, like 23rd in DraftKings points a game, 26% target share, 172 air yards already. His average depth of targets already over 9. So it's not like he's just getting those dump offs. I mean, you see his air yardage usage. He's getting the ball downfield. Lawrence obviously loves him with 20 or with 18 targets in just 2 games. Like, he's got the volume, he's got the air yards, and they're in a great game script. We're talking about 7-point underdogs. You would think Trevor has to pass it to keep up, so Vegas expects. So it's a good spot for me. Not my favorite of all spots, but and Christian Kirk's not obviously my favorite wide receiver. No, he's definitely not yours, but he's just got the volume, and the price tag is too cheap, I think, for what he's been doing.
Exactly. I like James Robinson also at 6'1". I know it's not the favorite option, but at 6'1", he's seen the attempts. He's seen the runs. They like him over Etienne right now, with how many rushing attempts Etienne's got at 9. Again, I like Robinson. We did just get the update that Kamara did practice today, so that's kind of a good thing for the Saints at 7,000 again for Kamara. So I don't mind that. But going on to Green Bay and Tampa, what is going on with Tampa Bay right now?
They just don't have a receiver. I mean, every single receiver on the slate for them has just got that red Q tag, the out tag. You got the Mike Evans pushing of his hated enemy in Marshawn Lattimore, and so he's suspended. There's just too many red flags on the receiving end for the Bucs that this game total is just not something you normally see. You saw Aaron Rodgers and a Tom Brady game total at 42. That just seems wrong. So I don't trust much for this game. I don't think either team really just likes their receivers as currently constructed with the injuries and stuff for Tampa and Green Bay. No Devontae, no anything. I mean, it seems like. So, I mean, I'm out on the receivers. I'm not stacking quarterbacks. Maybe Fournette. That's it for me.
It's crazy how Tom Brady's 6,000. That's crazy to me, because if you look at it, 6,000 you have down here: Derek Carr 5'9", Jared Goff 5'8", Tannehill 5'7". Tom Brady's 6,000. Carson Wentz is priced over Tom Brady right now. That should tell you how this season's going.
That seems so wrong.
That Carson Wentz is 6'3" compared to Tom Brady at 6,000. I'm sure he's calling Gronk right now, begging him to come back. I don't trust the receivers. Again, maybe Scotty Miller at 3'8", maybe, depending on their injury status of all these guys. I love me some Lenny at 6'5". That's going to be the main guy I want to look at. On the Green Bay side, again, it's kind of hard to trust. Aaron Jones, obviously. But we know A.J. Dillon still splits the backfield with him. Receivers-wise, there's a bunch of questionable marks. I don't love it. I don't really love this next game either, as bad as it sounds with Arizona and the Rams. What do you think of this game?
Yeah, you get Call of Duty Murray out there, and I guess you've seen the stats on the Call of Duty games being
Oh, it's
released, and
bad.
Murray's fantasy is so bad. I mean,
And the beta dropped, so he's obviously trying to win right now.
yeah, so it's hard for me to go out and trust Kyler Murray with the Call of Duty release, but he's always still a good option. I mean that's probably just a gimmick stat, and I hope that has nothing to do with it. But it's just kind of funny how it works out. It is. But yeah, for this game, like I'll go to Dortch at 4,300. I know he's been like the darling cheap guy for the last couple of weeks. Last week was not a huge volume week, but he did, get in the end zone. So it kind of saved his week in that regard. But at 4,300 with 13 targets in 2 games, it's like 14 DraftKings points a game, and the Rams giving up a lot through the air lately, I don't mind the dart throw there for cheap Dortch, especially if Rondale doesn't get to play. And then looking at Higbee, he's just been a target monster. $4,500 and 20 targets in 2 games. It's just been the Kupp and Higbee show lately for Matthew Stafford. And so he is kind of chalky in terms of his ownership, but still just a huge amount of volume. I don't mind going there.
Yeah, like I said, with James Conner banged up, I don't trust the running back field. Cooper Kupp obviously is a great option every single week. I don't know what to say about Cooper Kupp. Allen Robinson finally bailed us out last game. He finally saw the targets and got the touchdown. Again, that's going to be just a loaned option. Greg Dortch, like you said, chalk. Higbee's going to be chalk. I think the pivot would be to Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
That would be the pivot for me. But other than that, let's go to the last game with the Lancet Seahawks. What do you think of this game? And Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, that's an odd one. I mean, you see the GM saying or the coach saying that
it's not fantasy.
Yeah, it's not fantasy football we're playing out here. We're out here trying to win games, and they're sitting there at 0-2. Like, you're talking about your best receiver outside of, Drake London can make that argument now for him, but Pitts is so good, and they're not utilizing him in the receiving game. And I feel like that's a high detriment to Marcus Mariota. It seems like they're just honestly like pissing away his talent, and that's frustrating because he is that talented. He's down at $4,800 now. I'm just going to take shots at this dude in hopes that they understand that how much of talent this dude has. I know he has done literally nothing in the first 2 games, but I'm just going to take the talent and hope the talent rises to the top. So I'll still take Pitts at 4,800. Not a high priority, but it's just too cheap for a guy who has that much talent, and just hope the Falcons snap out of the stupidity.
Right, just free Calvin Ridley. They need him. They need him. But Drake London 5'8", I like that price tag for him. Kyle Pitts, like you said, I don't mind that. Cordell Patterson 5'8", nasty, but if you want to play him, play him. Marcus Mariota, we know he's always a threat on the ground, but this is the Seahawks. Don't really like it. Seahawks wise, Geno Smith, no thank you. If you want to play DK Metcalf, go ahead at 6'1". If you want to play Tyler Lockett, go ahead at 5'8". Again, but it is Geno Smith. That's the only problem. What do you think of the Seahawks? Anything you like?
Not really like. I'll play.
Yeah.
I'll play I'll play DK and I'll play Lockett, but I don't want to do it because Geno sucks. He's just a game manager. He gets the ball out, doesn't try to get a lot of turnovers, can move a little bit on the ground. But he's not ever going to excite you in terms of I'm going to pepper this dude. I'm going to be able to refill the long ball. Not a great spot in terms of being at Geno, but Atlanta's not very good. So that's the one thing that you can kind of bank on. They've given up second most DraftKings points to 2 receivers, 7th most yards, 4th most receptions. So the defense isn't good, but Geno isn't either. So, you're fighting 2 bad things going on at one time. Somebody's got to win, and I'll bank on the talent of DK or Lockett, but again, that's pushing it with Geno. So play a little bit, but I'm not playing a lot.
Right. All right, man. So we did it. We finally were able to do the video. We did it in 2 spurts, obviously, because of technical difficulties. So sorry about that. But I know you got to go, man. I know it's 2:00. You got things to do. We broke down 13-game slate, though. It's better than the Monday Night Showdown slate that we have coming up with Giants and Cowboys. But I won't even get started on that. But this is the 13-game slate. Follow him on Twitter. I'll add his Twitter link in the description below. Do you have any last closing thoughts, my man, before we head out of here?
Not anything we haven't covered, man. Let's just let's go get that money.
Right. All right, man. So this is the 13-game slate. Again, thank y'all for tuning in. Hope it's a great sit rest of their day. Have a good one, everybody.